Yes, people. The first race is literally under 24 hours away. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Pole Position Pod. Australian Grand Prix to kick off 2026. Augusta is back. We're going to discuss the qualifiers. We're going to discuss the race tomorrow. We're going to talk about all that unfolded, all that happened. It's going to be a great one, hopefully. It's going to be a great one. But how you doing, man? And yeah, let's get started, man.
Yeah, big up everyone. I'm not the only one that's back. These guys are back. These boys, the Silver Arrows, they're absolutely back. And they're not just back, they're back potentially better than ever, which is just remarkable. Silver Arrows, both George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, a front row lockout in the qualifying session that just happened a couple hours ago. Russell finishing nearly a second away from the closest team. Isaac Hadjar the Badger, out qualifying Max Verstappen in his first ever go as a Red Bull driver. Craziness. A lot to discuss, a lot to delve into. Exactly, football overseas. That was quite the surprise, quite the shock. Some would say pleasant surprise, others would say tragic surprise. But we'll delve into all of that and above. Yeah, you're a Mercedes fan, football overseas. Big up to you, because your team is. There was a lot of controversy about the engine compression. I'm in the minority on this channel. I'm actually not a Mercedes fan myself. I know wearing this kind of seems contradictory to that, but I believe Mercedes should be allowed to keep their loophole, at least for a little bit. They didn't breach any rule. They bypassed the regulation, so they shouldn't be punished for just inventing the best car. That's the whole aim of Formula One, inventing the best car under the regulations, which the FIA approved each phase of, and that paid dividends. While that hurt competition, while that hurt parity, today we are sitting here, Ekevin. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli are 1 second faster than the nearest team. And it's only going to get more brutal for them tomorrow. So I don't know how you feel as a Ferrari fan, though.
I mean, for me, it's like the same old, same old. Like, you're just seeing the same mistakes, same starts every single season I've seen. Although the last 2 years, Melbourne has been a ground, or not ground, but it's been a track where Ferrari have had the better of. I'd say the last 5 races, Ferrari have won 2 of the Melbourne Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. Carlos Sainz won one,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Charles Leclerc won one of them as well in the last 5, I think. So look, it's not been all doom and gloom for Ferrari. Like, I mean, top 4, top 7. I think the race pace will be there tomorrow. I think, like, forget qualifiers. Yeah, yes, we've all seen free practice. We've all seen the times. We've all seen how good they've been on free practice. But like I said, that's free practice. That's basically the preseason for every single Formula One race. And I'm not surprised that Ferrari do well in that because there's no pressure. But once the pressure hits them, they don't know how to react. And I've seen this time and time again. However, I am feeling better about tomorrow's race than I was last year. It's a new season. It's a new expectation, new hope. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think top 3 is definitely a possibility. Obviously, Charles Leclerc had a bit of a slow. I think he had a bit of one. I think he had like a slow final few sectors. I think he had a slow Q3. But you know what? It wasn't as bad as you thought. I mean, he wasn't on provisional pole, but he was close to provisional pole. Like, it wasn't as bad. Obviously, he finished above the McLarens. He finished below Isaac Hadjar. Credit to Isaac Hadjar, finished in the top 3.
Stunning.
Great final sector, albeit the Mercedes is just too quick. But what a debut for Isaac Hadjar in the Red Bull. I mean, that's how you want to show up in your first race for Red Bull, or first race weekend for Red Bull, because you've been promoted to the second driver. You've shown your potential, and what a way to show up! What a way to show up! And obviously, your teammate Max Verstappen is big up Kyle Football Overseas. Make sure you guys subscribe to Football Overseas, people. Make sure you guys subscribe to Kyle. He's close to 1K. Big up to you, brother. Big up, man. Did you see the Verstappen being out? Yeah, man. Verstappen being out. That is the talking point of today's show. Verstappen, I think he had his car kind of slipped on the line. I think, or was it on the white line?
It was a technical issue into his flying lap, and basically it costed him the entire qualifying session.
Yeah, I think they replayed the sound at the end of the qualifying session, just to see what actually happened and how actually unfolded. I think it was the He lost control of the car, but at the end of the day, that's not a driver error. I think it's more of a mechanical error. I don't think it was
Yeah.
down to. I think this was down to the car not being fully ready. But he's starting number 20 tomorrow, isn't he? Not number 20, number 22 now, because it's now the. Don't forget they added 2 more drivers, so they've added another car to the grid. 11 cars on the grid, 22 drivers on the grid. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes this season. But like I said, I mean, you gotta give credit to Isaac Hadjar. I mean, he had a great start to the season. Well, not start to the season, but great start to the race weekend for Red Bull. And Charles Leclerc, top 4. I'll take it. I'll take top 4 for this weekend. P7 for Lewis Hamilton. I thought, you know what, after the first Q1, you know, I was thinking, all right, there's a chance he can definitely, you know, finish him a lot higher. But then at the end of the day, it's Q1, not Q3. You can show your fastest pace on Q1, but if you don't show your fastest pace on Q3, you don't qualify for where you want to qualify. So top 7 is respectable. Top 4 and top 7 for 2 of the drivers, I'll take it. It's not ideal, but for this weekend, yeah, because it's the first race, I will take it. So there's definitely a chance to finish in the podium for sure. Do I think Ferrari have a chance to overtake Red Bull in the top 3? Yeah, I think they've got the pace to overtake Red Bull in the top 3. Do I think they're faster than Mercedes for this weekend? Probably not. No, I don't. I doubt it. Especially in the straights. I don't see Ferrari being faster than Mercedes in the straights. I'd argue Red Bull are faster in the straights as well, but Ferrari have it in them to hold on to the lead. I think if Ferrari take the lead, they'll have what it takes to hold on to a lead. Isaac Hadjar looks a lot faster though than I thought. I didn't think he'd be in the top 3. I didn't think Isaac Hadjar would be in the top 3. Like it was a unexpected, like, you know, it was an unexpected, like, finish to Q3 in the final sector. So like I said, big up to Isaac Hadjar, right? Because I didn't think he would do it. I didn't think he had it in him to make. I'd say top 8 would have been respectable, but top 3, hey, fair play. You know, you're starting on the front row, pretty much starting on the front row. So yeah, man, I can't really complain about Ferrari's performance because, like I said, it wasn't as great, but you know, it wasn't as great, but it was expected, kind of, you know. However, come the race, I hope it's a lot faster and a lot better. So I'll say top 3 and top 5. If I had to say what's a respectable finish for Ferrari this weekend, I'm saying top 3, top 5. I'm saying Leclerc in 3rd, Lewis Hamilton in 5th. I'll take that just for this weekend because you're at least closing it, because you're at least kind of behind Mercedes on the points already. You know what I'm trying to say? You've already started off on the points, just behind Mercedes, your competitors this season, and I think Red Bull will be just after, and Cadillac for their first qualifying session. You can kind of almost expect it. You can kind of almost expect what was going to happen. Cadillac, it wasn't gonna be the most intriguing qualifying session for them. Audi, I mean, did they really do much? I mean, Nico Hulkenberg got on in Q1 or Q2, didn't he? He didn't make.
They were actually very close. Gabi Bortoleto made it to Q3. Nico was 11th. I think they had a very good quali session.
So this is what I mean. Like, I just think Nico Hulkenberg, after the season he had last year, you think he'd be a little bit better this year with the engine, with the car change as well. Obviously, Audi is a top is one of the most famous car brands in the world, right? And you're bringing him into Formula One. You should expect a better engine, expect better performances. But you know, Gabriel Bortoleto, fair play to him. Fair play to Bortoleto. Fair play to Hulkenberg. They did the thing. I think Hulkenberg will definitely creep up into the top 10. There's a good chance he can get into the top 10 for this weekend, but we'll see what happens. I think obviously you want to add in your points, obviously, because I think I kind of give my points. I don't know if you want to add yours as well on summary of pretty much a few of the drivers and Ferrari if you like as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think first of all, you're right when it comes to big up football. Kyle, once again, big up Mercedes, your team, yes. And Ekevin, you mentioned how Ferrari are on the back foot. They're backpedaling, they're clawing the gap, and that's how it's going to be. Give it until early June, give it till the Monaco Grand Prix. Ferrari are going to be on the back foot. But
Yeah.
as you and I talked about, our foresight, we foreshadowed this. Ekevin, we said even if Ferrari have a shit show of a first week in Melbourne, it's not over yet. The championship is still there to be won. There are 22 or 24 Grand Prix this year, including or excluding the Middle Eastern Grand Prix. And with Mercedes, we know their engine compression upgrade, or not upgrade necessarily, rather their loophole.
Sorry, so sorry to hear that, Kyle. So sorry to hear about your phone being stolen, man.
My goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that as well.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Hope you can try and track it, man. Hope you can try and track your phone, man. But so sorry to hear that, man. For real, it's okay, man.
Yeah, we're here for you. But I agree with you. I think that for Ferrari, you just have to maximize your points, like Max Verstappen did in 2024. When he won the championship in an inferior car, what did he do? When he had the fastest car, he maximized his output. When he didn't have the fastest car, he minimized the damage. So that's exactly what, again, Ferrari need to emulate. Yeah, you're 100% right, Kyle. But I think the FIA have already announced that before the Monaco Grand Prix, they will be measuring the 16-1 to 18-1 engine compression increase before and during races. So even with this loophole, the FIA have given Mercedes a brief grace period, the first 7 races of the season. After that, they will have to return to normal conditions alongside everyone else. So first 7 races, expect Mercedes to dominate, to dictate, to be that unipolar superpower, the world hegemon, whatever you want to call them. After those 7 races, you're right. Maybe they still have the Ken Miles utopian car, right? Maybe they still have that supercar that is still untouchable, even without that 16-1 to 18-1 increase. However, I think it will get a lot more equal, given that Red Bull with this team, super technical team, less politically involved, more technically prioritizing. Talk about Hadjar and Mekis, that connection. Hadjar seems super competent. Verstappen's Verstappen. He's probably the best driver to ever grace a Formula One car. And then you have Ferrari as well. Leclerc and Hamilton on their day, the best driver pairing on the entire grid, comfortably, unquestionably, without a doubt. And also, like we said, Ferrari have pace. And even Ekevin, you want to talk about today, that lap. If you saw the lap breakdown between George Russell and Charles Leclerc, you know George Russell, Ekevin, he only beat Charles Leclerc on the straights. On every single corner, Charles Leclerc was faster than George Russell. Do you know what that means? That basically means the Mercedes engine was the reason that Russell beat Leclerc. And Russell drove a fantastic lap, no doubt about it. Mentally, I would argue he is a level above Leclerc and Lando Norris. But Ferrari have pace. And like Ekevin said, especially on race starts, expect them to jump up the grid. I would expect Hamilton to make up 2 to 3 places. Leclerc will make maybe a couple places as well. So watch out for Ferrari. They have race pace. They're also quick on a 1 lap. Melbourne, like Ekevin said, has not been their hunting ground. It has not been their home. It has been more hell than heaven for them. But Ferrari will be okay. First 7 races, minimize the damage, get into the groove, upgrade, find that right rhythm, find that right mode, and then afterwards pursue. When it comes to Mercedes, this could not be better than a wet dream for them. And also for the team I want to shout out is Red Bull. Because Ekevin, Red Bull, fair play, man. Everyone had their reservations. Everyone had their hesitations. Everyone thought that Red Bull, given Honda departing them, look what's happening to Aston Martin. Aston Martin producing one of the all-time fuck-ups we've ever seen in Formula One. Red Bull with Ford, they're new to the grid. First time ever. They're newbies. They're virgins to the F1 grid. That's what they are. They come to Formula One and they have built an engine package that is relatively quick and reliable as well. So we're going to see what happens, Ekevin. I'm excited for the race tomorrow. I think obviously Mercedes will win. We expect that. But podium, 1, 2, and 3 for Ferrari. Verstappen coming off the grid. I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely a chance. I'm not gonna say Ferrari don't have a chance to finish in the podium. But do you think out of all the teams, they're the ones who are gonna fuck up? If you think that, there's a chance. Out of all the teams that have a chance, I think Red Bull, if they get the strategies right, they'll finish above Ferrari. Because we all know what happens to Ferrari when it comes to strategies. They have one of the biggest. They have every single race. They have one of the biggest mishaps you'll ever see. Like there's time when remember Charles Leclerc last year. Man was leading the race, got pump faked by McLaren for the pit stop. and then the strategy completely fell apart with the tire decision as well. So, like I said, if there's any team to mess up, it's going to be Ferrari. However, I think Ferrari have it in them to finish above Red Bull. They've got the pace. They've got they're definitely faster on multiple parts of the grid. Even I say that the straights. I think there's definitely a good chance, but you're right about the end when it comes to the engine. The engine is what will get you over the line. It's like you're going to how do you say? It's like you're going to race in a. It's like a Honda versus like a Lamborghini, for example. Yeah. The Honda might be far ahead of you, but the Lamborghini was faster in time because it's the faster car with the faster engine, right? With more horsepower. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. I think obviously with the horsepower, with the engine, with everything that Mercedes have to their arsenal, they can get over the line. Yeah. They will get over the line. And I just think that they've got what it takes. They've got the team, they've got the strategy, they've got the drivers to get over. Obviously, Kimi Antonelli, I think there was a bit of an incident there with one of the red flags. I think the race was red flagged twice today. Not the race, but the qualifying session was red flagged twice today. And it just tells you that maybe there are certain parts of the grid where I'm starting to question whether it's safe for drivers. Because Max Verstappen, he had a mechanical failure, I think, at one part of the grid. Kimi Antonelli had a bit of an issue. So I'm already thinking if the race was red flagged twice today, sorry, the qualifying session was red flagged today twice, what's going to happen tomorrow? I'm more concerned with what's going to happen tomorrow. How will this race go? Because was it the track? Was it just a certain part of the grid? I don't know what it is. But so like I said, 2 incidents already in this race to two really good drivers. I'm really starting to question tomorrow there could be more than just one crash out. And I hate to, like I said, I've said it last year, I hate to predict crash outs. I hate to predict they not finish. But
so Akevin,
there might be 2 or 3 of them tomorrow.
So you're not the only one aligning with those sentiments. The best driver on the grid, Max Verstappen, also said something similar. After qualifying, this is a quote verbatim, bar for bar, word for word. I'm not enjoying this at all. Emotionally and feeling-wise, I'm completely drained. This is very little to do with racing. So Max Verstappen is saying the exact same thing that you are saying, Ekevin. He's like, this is not racing. There are going to be a lot of incidents. This is about managing the 50-50. This is not about manual. This is about electrical. This is about engines. This is about power units. This is about an arcade style of Formula One, Formula E. This isn't really about who is the most skilled driver on the grid. And that's going to be a problem, Ekevin. You're right. Because tomorrow, people aren't going to be able to manage their battery correct. And if you don't manage your battery correct, and if there are deployment issues, you will not even be able to finish a lap. And look at what's happening to Aston Martin. Aston Martin is case in point. Ekevin, they can't even race tomorrow. They're not even going to complete 25% of the race. They physically cannot. It is, one, they don't have the pace to do that. Secondly, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll both said if they race in these cars, they will get permanent nerve damage. That's why Lance Stroll didn't even come out today, because it is existential. It is critical. It is crucial. It is lethal. It is like damaging towards them. So I agree with you. And then in the second thing is Lewis Hamilton came out with some comments after qualifying, and Hamilton is a good litmus test on where the sentiment is, where the feeling is, where the mood is at Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton basically came out and said that 2 things. One, about his own performance. Ekevin, he said the same thing that you said. He said it was not the best qualifying, but we've been solid all weekend, feeling very motivated, feeling very happy. If we maximized our potential, we would have been P3 and P4. That's what he's saying. Hamilton's saying the exact same thing as you. And he's saying that there's more pace in the car. Hamilton also revealed that there were some issues with the car. The reason he finished in 7th was because they had some deployment issues. So it wasn't a pace thing. Ferrari just had some mechanical issues towards the end of qualifying, by the way. That's very good for us to know. And then the other thing was Hamilton talked about the engine compression thing. Mercedes engine compression gap. Do you want to hear what Lewis Hamilton had to say about that?
Go on.
Lewis Hamilton said is, what's clear is they hit all of this in practice, right? They sandbagged. They did a really solid job with this engine, which we have as well. But I'm trying to understand, why is it 2/10 or more through power per sector? And if so, if it's the compression thing, why haven't the FIA done anything to rectify this?
Mm.
Hamilton is slamming Mercedes, by the way, and he's slamming the FIA. He's complimenting them, but he says the gap that Mercedes have, even on our best days, they're untouchable. And
Yeah.
even Charles Leclerc said the same thing after the race. He said that we expected them to be the fastest car, but 8/10, Ekevin, 8/10. I have never seen a team have a gap of 8/10 to the next team. Have you? I have never seen that. Even at the peak of the Mercedes era, they never had this margin because Max could compete. Lando could get the odd race. Sebastian Vettel when he was competent. Charles Leclerc, Kimi Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo. All these guys could match up with them. Then you had the Max, and the Lando stuff. This dominance from Mercedes is unprecedented. It's concerning. I don't know what you make of it. I think, unfortunately, you're in a gray area. The FIA should rectify it. But as I opened up the show with, I know the drivers are complaining, but the rules are the rules, and Mercedes didn't really break any rules.
They didn't break any rules, but I think to rectify, make a bit of a change to it in terms of like the engine. I think make a slight change. I think the engine is okay, like you mentioned. It's the engine that got them over the line rather than the pace of the car, right? Because if you're talking pure pace, Ferrari looked a lot faster. If we're talking in general, who has the better horsepower of the engine, it's Mercedes that will last over the entire race. The engine will carry them to pretty much a race victory on majority of the races of the season. And like I said, the engine will last for a long time. So at the end of the day, I'm not the one to make that call whether that Mercedes should change it or not. However, if I was to do it, then if I was to make a decision, then I would. I can't make the decision, but if I had to, then I would, because imagine being 8/10 faster. I gotta say, you and I were talking about 3/10 faster. This is 8/10 faster. Like, this is way too fast. And look, I'm not one to say that a team. I'm not one to knock off a team for doing what they did in terms of like how they built their car, how they built their how they built their way to building a good car. However, I'm just gonna say this. It's a bit too far. It's too far fetched. I don't think it's catchable. However, like I said, I can't knock off what they did. They did their job. They built their car. They got the engine. But I'm gonna say this again. If I had to make a decision, I would make a slight change. 3/10 faster is better than 8/10 faster, for a neutral standpoint. 8/10 faster is way too fast. You and I were talking about 3/10 faster, bro. 3/10. This is 8/10. Way faster than we predicted. You know what I mean? However, it's still they still did their thing. So
I heard everything, and I completely agree with you. I think it's very difficult, and big up Blueman as always here. I think it's there's a tragic irony in this. We talked about the problems with taking action versus not taking action. If you take action, you completely erase the identity of Formula One. I'm sure, Kyle, you might agree with me on this one. I'm not sure what you make of this, Lumen, but Mercedes, they built the engine legally. Yes, the rules state 16-1, but the FIA approved every step of the way. So you can't blame Mercedes for doing this at all. Like, Lewis Hamilton had the nuance to recognize Mercedes didn't do anything. They just exploited your rules better than anybody else did. But you're right. If nothing really changes, because even if they remove this, Mercedes have probably exploited another rule. These new regulations, Ekevin, no matter how entertaining they may be for the midfield, for the back of the grid, if there is one team that is literally in a league of its own, if there is one team creating their own legacy, 1 and 2. Kimi Antonelli, let's put it into context. He had a tremendous lap, but his car was effectively broken. It was impaired completely. His GPS system didn't even work today. And yet still, without a fully functional car, he finished second. He finished 5/10 from the nearest challenger. He finished a second ahead of the world champion from last year. Put that into perspective. And Kimi Antonelli is a tremendously technically talented driver. He is a once-in-a-generation talent. He can win the world championship. But this gap is going to make racing unsustainable and unviable for many neutrals. It will degrade the commercial reputability of racing itself. Yes. And Kyle, I don't know if you've seen any of the clips that Ekhoven's posted. That's just exactly what I've been saying. It is the FIA's fault completely for their lack of unambiguousness. Their ambiguity is completely the catalyst for this. And why should Mercedes be penalized? I agree with you. That's the argument that I'm making. Why should they be penalized? I think a grace period, change it for the summer break or next year. But unfortunately, you can't jeopardize what Mercedes built, because now we're just turning Formula One from a competitive sport about the realest and the bestest to a reality TV show. So it's a very difficult situation the FIA are in. But at the moment, they have other problems as well, because it looks like their premier driver, the one that's supposed to be there, at least for the next generation, Max Verstappen, he wants out already, and we know he's been wanting to leave in 2028 for a while, but he is completely disenfranchised. Fernando Alonso will probably leave the sport at the end of the year. Let's see what happens with Lewis Hamilton as well. So, yeah, man, the FIA at the moment, these new regulations, can I say that they've been successful? Yeah, in the sense of unpredictability, volatility in terms of outcomes on track, but in terms of results, no, because we already knew, Ekhoven, you and I knew before qualifying even started who was going to be on pole. We knew that, did we not? Yeah. I mean, George Russell just had to drive his car, not make any fatal mistakes. Boom.
Unless that maybe they'd expect something else. But like, yeah, you're right. Mercedes were the ones to race on the weekend. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
You didn't cut me off. I mean, getting another quote. So Max Verstappen said that he's having no fun in these new regulations. Lando Norris said these are the worst ever cars he's driven. Did you hear that, Ekhoven? Worst ever cars.
Yeah.
This is your back-to-back world champions. The only world champions of the last generation, the last regulations. Max and also Lando are both slamming this, condemning this. Yeah, I want to see Kyle's comment.
Sport is like that. If the authorities always punish the teams for exploiting loopholes in the vague rules, it's not fair because there's better competitors. You know the saying, work smarter. Yeah, if they didn't make it clear, like you mentioned the calculator analogy, if they say you can't bring a calculator into an exam without saying it, then it's not your fault for bringing a calculator. You know what I mean? You brought the calculator already without knowing the rule because they didn't make the rule clearly. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the FIA have a lot to do on that. The FIA have a lot on their hands. They have a lot on their hands. They've got a lot to do, you know, to sort this shit out. But that's on them. And if they can fix it, then we got to depend on them. You know, it's all on them this weekend, and pretty much every single weekend to sort out the rules. So yeah, no, like I said, the compression should be 16-1, but on track 18.
Yeah.
So that's the one issue. You know, that's the one issue. If they didn't realize that, then maybe now I think about it, I did contradict a lot of what I said last time, and maybe you both are right. This is down to the FIA. This is not Mercedes' fault anymore for not knowing the rules because they didn't clarify the rules properly. And you're right. I kind of take back what I said in the last few shows. And yeah, it's on the FIA for not clarifying properly. If they're punishing Mercedes, I'm sure the other teams have broken similar rules into building their cars. Facts. That's true. You know, that's possible.
But yeah, no, and I'm with you, and thank you for bringing up the calculator analogy because it's correct, right? That's why on a test, the teacher says, or like in a football game, no, whatever it is, if you have a rule, right, that you don't want steroids or whatever to be used, you have to unambiguously and explicitly state it. Otherwise, people will, of course, try and find loopholes. This is about victory. This is not about charity. And the FIA did not do a good job policing it. And Total Wolf is 100% correct when he says the FIA, not only did they exploit a loophole, they didn't break a law. The FIA approved everything they did. So if the FIA turned their back because of politics, because of commercial reasons, then the FIA have lost even more credibility. Because then it can happen to any team that has been outright that successful. So thank you for that, Ekvin, and thank you for that, Kyle. I agree with you. I think that's the problem. So they just really need to be so unambiguous. They need to be so clear and obvious with what they do, what they say, what teams can and cannot do. This lack of ambiguity is not just killing Formula One, it is killing global refereeing, because there's so much ambiguity, even in football, even with VAR, Ekvin. We talk about referees being competent or not, but the problem isn't just the referees. I think they are a tiny part of the problem. It is more, and of course there is corruption. You talk about links to Abu Dhabi, to whatever you want to talk about there. The rules are too ambiguous. 1 week you get a penalty for a certain handball. The next week that same handball is not a penalty. What's going on, guys? We need to keep to the same. You're on mute, by the way. We need to keep to the same system.
Application is very important. Apply to the same rules and apply to consistency. That's what they didn't do. They're not applying to consistency. They're applying to inconsistency. You know what I'm trying to say? They're applying to inconsistency rather than consistency. Because different referees have different opinions and different views, right? If you get people with similar views, then the game will only be fair, because everyone's viewing it the same. Whereas if you make one decision that's the exact same but different call, if you give me a different call to the exact same the exact same incident, then it just makes it look a lot worse. So this is why I'm saying the FIA needs to make the same call for every driver in every car. And these same rules need to be applied to everyone. Whether Ferrari wanted to make the upgrade, whether Red Bull wanted to make the upgrade, whether McLaren wanted to make the upgrade, the FIA have to investigate every car and every team's decision. They need to be the ones in the room with every team principal discussing their cars going into next season. Going into the new season with new regulations, they need to be the ones sat in there with the exact same decision being made for everyone. Same applies to every car that's new, every car that's with new drivers, with new engine upgrades. Application is important, and like I said, they need to apply the consistency and refrain from inconsistency.
Yes,
that's how I look
at it. I 100%. But Kyle, the thing is, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Ekvin and everyone else who's been on this channel has seen how I have probably been the biggest proponent of why Mercedes should get to keep what they built. But I'm really devil's advocate with you guys. If you're the FIA, put yourself in the FIA, you've made a mistake. You've made an existential mistake. It is your fault. What do you do? Because we know come June 30th, they're going to correct this. But what do you do? Because at the moment, you're a sport. If they don't correct this, guys, there is no competition. It is a foregone conclusion that Mercedes will win this championship. And by the way, I'm not even saying Mercedes are going to win the championship. I'm probably the only person across all social media posts, from major F1 influencers all the way to many of these channels, including the drivers, Ekvin. By the way, I don't think Mercedes are going to win the championship. It's a shoe shot. Of course, I have them as favorites, but I don't think it's a shoe-in that Mercedes win this championship, because I think at the moment, this engine compression gap, Ekvin, it is giving them 3 to 5 tenths per lap. It's giving them 25 kilometers per hour at least. Per lap, sorry, per hour, what am I saying? 25 kilometers per lap of extra speed. That is untouchable for the first 7 races. But after those races, if the FIA know how to implement this correctly, that's the biggest challenge. How are they going to implement this correctly? Because it's all fun and games, Ekvin and Kyle. It's all fun and games that the FIA want to penalize Mercedes for their own mistakes. And if they're going to do that, if they're going to strip them away from their boost or whatever you want to call it, how are you going to effectively apply that, as Ekvin you're saying, right? How are they going to apply that? Because this is their engine we're talking about here. This is not the DAS system. This is not an extra gadget. This is the core. This is the heart of your car. So how are you going to apply this and amend this deficit or make Mercedes play by the same rules, even though they are playing by the same rules? So that's just a question I have for everyone. At the moment, do I think that the championship is over? No. I think if you're Red Bull, I think if you're Ferrari, you gotta claw the gap, and it looks like Red Bull and Ferrari can compete. It looks like they definitely, as Ekman said, they look faster. Both teams are managing their battery a lot better than Mercedes are. Mercedes might have a bit of reliability issues. Mercedes as well. Look at Kimi Antonelli struggling with the deployment. They actually look a lot. And they look worse than Ferrari. They actually look worse pace-wise than Ferrari. Like authentic pace.
It's engine that's carrying them. Sorry to cut you off. It's the engine that's carrying them.
No. Exactly. Yeah, good. Kyle, I agree with you. Can you pull up Kyle's latest comment? So I agree with you, Kyle. I think you apply the law proportionate to every team. I wouldn't fine teams yet because it's the FIA's mistake. I think for the FIA to show leadership, for them to show stewardship, for them to accept accountability and reciprocate responsibility, you can't blame the teams for this. You have to just apply the law unambiguously and as clearly as humanly possible. So come the summer break, make it very clear what teams can and can't do. Cover for almost every single scenario you could plausibly think of, on and off the track, not just when you measure the car off the track, not just when it's ambient or static, rather than when it is active. So the FIA, I think they need to express leadership, hold their hands up, apologize. Because at the moment, Ekman, I don't think any single panelist or any single commenter we've had on this channel since we've started doing the F1 shows has a vote of confidence for the FIA. Do you? I don't. We don't. So the
last few years that they cannot make a decision right. Remember the Qatar qualifiers? Remember?
Yes.
Remember Lusails? I mean, bro.
Exactly.
Bro, the fact that there was debris on the track and yet they still didn't bring out a safety car is where I draw the line with them, and I can't trust them. So this is why I can't trust the FIA on. They can't make the right decision. They can't make a fair decision in races. But sorry, we'll go on. But I think they fired their race principal already, right? I think they fired the race principal last year, right? I think.
But even then, whether they firing people, scapegoating people is not going to solve the situation, right? It's one thing removing the problem; it's another thing solving a problem that exists. And the FIA. I think the best way, Ekman and Kyle, to gain the respect, gain the support, gain the confidence, regain it if they ever had it, is to apologize, accept accountability, reciprocate responsibility very clearly, decisively, and unambiguously. Basically, no tolerance policy, and also at the same time, accept that these engine issues, these punishments have been their fault. They haven't enforced it properly. People will gain a lot more respect for them. And then, of course, summer, proportionately apply the rules properly to every team. And then after that, if the teams make a mistake, then have your punishments laid out clear and obvious for no room for doubt whatsoever. That's how I would do it. And I think the FIA, that's how you gain the respect of people back. You can own up to your mistakes. And also, owning up is one thing. Acting on your mistakes is another.
Yeah, 100%. And just going back to Lewis Hamilton earlier, I think he said something along the lines of he's not going to leave the sport until they bring the races back to Africa. Yeah. And bro, they have a race in South America, they have a race in North America, or a few races in North America. They have races in Europe, races in Asia, Australia. There's how many continents in the world, Augustia? 7. Obviously, one being Antarctica, which you can't race there.
Hopefully soon.
What about Africa? Africa's been neglected for so many years. They've got bare F1 fans over there, especially Kyle here. He's from Kenya. He's an F1 fan. At least bring the races to Africa, man. South Africa would be perfect. Johannesburg, Cape Town, wherever. Pretoria. I don't mind. Bring the races, or even Nigeria. South Africa or Africa in general needs to have a race. Every continent in the world needs to have a race. It's not right to have a race in every of the 5 continents in the world, but the 6th and one of the most important one is Africa. So I agree with Lewis Hamilton, man. Don't leave the sport until you bring the races back to South Africa, man, or Africa in general.
And I agree. And a lot of people are taking his comments out of context. But South Africa is one of the culturally richest places in the world. in the history of the world. In fact, Africa is not just culturally rich, also monetarily rich. We can talk about the roots of exploitation and colonialism as well, which is still ongoing today. And many of these organizations are complicit. Hamilton is correct to call this out. But at the same time, the fans in Africa, my goodness, across all of sport, they are some of the most passionate fans, Ekavin. They're some of the most...
Blue as well. One of my OG subscribers is from South Africa as well.
Yeah. Exactly. So these guys, all of them, they should have a cap. That's an interesting take. How
many races is there? 24 races this year.
Because they added 24. So what? So you'd have 6 per. Not 6. You'd have 4 per continent.
Because there's 4 in Europe, 2 in Spain, 1 in Italy, 1 in the Netherlands, 1 in Belgium. Unless they remove Belgium.
Spa's still on the grid.
I think they've got 6. I think they've got 6 in Europe, bro.
They've got more than 6 in Europe. They've got 5. They've got 6 across the UK. They've got 6 across North America. They've got 1 in South America. They've got a handful in Asia, counting Australia. So,
no, Australia is its own continent.
Okay, then fair. Then yeah, for counting Oceania, then they have 1. Kyle, what I would say to that is, I think the problem is, I think we should have a race in every continent, and it should be the best per continent. I agree with you. Also because it makes sense from a financial and a commercial aspect to grow the sport. But at the same time, I think capping it equally per each continent might be a problem because some continents obviously aren't as developed. Some continents aren't as passionate. Some continents don't have as many countries like Oceania, Ekavin, you're talking about. We can't have 4 races in Australia, New Zealand, I don't know, 2 other countries in that continent, right? We can't, because they're basically islands. They're channel islands. So I like it. Then that we would have 25 races, 5 and 5 continents.
There's 3 in America, 2 in Canada, 1 in Mexico, 1 in Brazil. I think so. I think there's Montreal, Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken, or is this
Vancouver? I think it's just at the moment it's just Montreal.
Okay.
I think the one it's not 2. You're right. It's 5 in North America. It's Mexico, not Vancouver.
Right. Mexico.
So then you're still correct.
Yeah. So 5 in North America, and then there's 1 in 2 in South America. There's Argentina as well, right? Or not Argentina?
No, just Brazil.
Brazil. Okay. How can I keep forgetting? It's just Brazil. So yeah. There's only 1.
And then in Asia, we have Japan, we have China, we have Singapore. That's it.
No, we're getting UAE as well. Don't forget UAE too. UAE
Middle East. Then we have UAE. Then we have Saudi Arabia. Then we have Bahrain. Then we have Qatar. That's 7. And then we're gonna get maybe India. We're gonna get Thailand back as well. That's 9.
India not yet, but Thailand's definitely gonna have.
There are talks of India at the moment as well. So.
Oh yeah, because they did the Racing Bulls, event in India, right, the other day, and Arvid Lidlab was there.
But you see, but that's the thing. The problem is it's not proportionate. I think we should have I think we should have, instead of having a maximum of per continent, we should have a minimum of each continent. I think that would be a better solution. Right? Mm-hmm. So we should have at least a couple in Africa, at least a couple in Asia, at least a couple in Europe. Because European countries, unfortunately, we can talk about politics, we can talk about colonialism, we can talk about exploitation. They're deeply entrenched historically in Formula One and in motorsport. Africa as well, in terms of support, in terms of passion, in terms of interest. So big up. Oh my goodness, possible.
You said you had 17 pages. Now you have 30. Unlucky, bro. Good luck, man. Just keep on going. And what did I say? I gave you a shout out like 5 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, we just did.
So rewind back and listen to the conversation. But big up to you, brother. Big up to you, bro. Hope you're doing good. Sorry, bro. Go on.
No, I agree. Big up, Bossa Blue. Absolute legend in the chat. But yeah, I totally agree that races need to be in Africa. Absolutely. It just makes sense commercially. It makes sense from a point. I think that's essential, quintessential. But instead of having a maximum of races per continent, it should be a minimum per continent. We should have to
Yeah.
meet a quota. And to the critics, I know there will be critics who say that, hang on a minute, are we just handing out handouts to places that don't deserve it? No, because every single continent does have groups of fans in those places that are warranted, that are deserving, and has sponsors that would be willing to finance the operation as well. So I think have a minimum number, not a maximum number, a minimum number, and we'll be there. I think F1 just have to fix, obviously, mechanically. I think they do have to go back to a more authentic wheel-to-wheel form of racing, where drivers have more input in terms of skill, not about battery management overwhelmingly, because we'll lose people like Max Verstappen. And then in terms of this season, Mercedes, first 7 races, good night, no competition, just the conclusion. After that, I think it's all to play for. I think Ferrari and Red Bull can absolutely mount the deficit.
No, there will definitely be a good chance for sure.
Oh, by the way, also, I don't want to interrupt. Real quick,
No.
Max Verstappen, Red Bull came out. Pierre Wache from Red Bull came out and said that Max Verstappen, he lost the rear because of some technical issue, and had that not happened, he would have been in the mix with the Mercedes. They believe he would have been around 3/10 behind the Mercedes. So Red Bull have paid. Red Bull seem like the closest team that can compete to Mercedes at the moment. Ferrari as well look like if Mercedes make a couple of mistakes, they can be there. But that gap at the moment, guys, is insurmountable.
Yeah, man, 100%. But obviously, talking from the other standpoint, we were talking about the races in South Africa and all that. If you want to go back and rewind that, you can. But I was just gonna say, South Korea is another place where Formula One is quite popular as well, in my opinion. You've also got potentially Indonesia. You've got Malaysia. You've got many countries around the world who love Formula One. You've even Thailand, and Thailand is one of the most, I'd say, with tourism, it's up there in the world with tourism for sure.
It's number one. It's been number one for many years.
Many years. So this is what I'm saying. If you want to increase tourism even more, include Formula One, because people love Formula One and people are going to fly for Formula One, and we have a Thai driver as well, or at least a half Thai driver on the grid. His name is Alex Albon. So we'll see, man. We'll see if he could be the face of the race potentially in 2 years' time, because they're saying 2028, isn't it? And hopefully that they can do preseason testing here, because that would be fun. Because how they did it in Barcelona this year, right? They did preseason testing in Barcelona, right?
They did the shakedown in Barca and the thing in Bahrain.
Yeah, exactly. So if they can do testing in Thailand, I would absolutely love that, man. I would absolutely love that. So, but anyways, we'll see about that. But in terms of the rest of the racers and all that, Arvid Lindblad, that's how you say his name correctly.
Mm-hmm.
What a first race! What a first qualifier! What a first qualifier! I mean, he finished what, P8, like
crazy.
First race, big up to him, and with Red Bull's sister car as well. You didn't think that they'd have the pace, but if you look at it, they actually do have the pace. Racing Bulls do have the pace, so they could be a top 5 team this year potentially. If we're thinking about it, we did our predictions, but looking at it, they have the pace, and they can definitely be a top 5 team potentially. I was just telling Auguste about the unexpected, unlikely to be consistent Mercedes.
Yeah, boss. Sorry, do you want to? I didn't interrupt you.
No, go on.
But Boss Blue, I was gonna say, I think you and I are the only 2 people, and Ekevin, maybe you would agree with us. We might be the only 3 people that believe this championship isn't done yet. Everyone, everywhere, whether it's Verstappen to Leclerc to Lewis Hamilton, all the way to every single mega influencer or famous Stan account on X, Formula One Stan account. Championship's gone. Season's wrapped up. 8/10 is the biggest margin we've probably ever seen. But June 30th, Monaco, whenever Monaco is, grace period, that's it. They're going to lose this pace advantage. So And this pace advantage is contributing what 15 to 20 horsepower, and also what is it 25 kilometers per lap per hour per
Mm.
lap. So I think what's happening with the Mercedes engine boost, engine compression increase from 16 to 1 to 18 to 1. Guys, after 7 races, this supreme advantage, this unipolar dominance is wraps. It's over. They will still probably be the fastest car, but at the same time, it's not a foregone conclusion. And also Ferrari and Red Bull aren't out of it. If Max was in this race in qualifying, if he completed his lap, he would have been 3 tenths behind. Ferrari, if they optimized their time, would have been around 5 tenths behind. That is something to build on, especially with the engine compression already contributing to 3 to 5 tenths a lap.
Mm.
Well, yeah, I mean,
They can't drive. Who are you talking about though? You're talking about Charles. You're talking about one
I
of
think he's
the.
talking about one of the Mercedes drivers, probably George Russell.
Oh, I think Kimi, isn't it? I know Kimi because
Maybe.
Kimi had an incident in the race in the qualifying session again. He had another incident, but then he's also he's crashing again because we last year Kimi Antonelli has been behind a lot of conspiracy theories last year. And we will get into conspiracy theories on another show, but behind the conspiracy theories of last year, Kimi was behind a lot of them. That's what I will say. And yeah, man, we're about to see more conspiracy theories this year again. Hopefully
yeah.
not. Hopefully not. Hopefully Ferris Ferrari. Big up to Fossey, big up to you, bro. Hope you're doing good. You're a bit late, but you know it's all good, bro.
Hey,
but yeah, sorry, go on. No,
hey, nah, he's legend, Bossa Blue, Tifosi, legends,
yeah, legends.
OGs, the legends, man. Always love them, no matter when they show up.
Any man could have put that Williams up front. That Manfred's done nothing to be a little bit competitive since joining Mercedes. You're talking George Russell.
Yeah, he's referring to George Russell. I don't know if I agree with that. I think, yeah, I agree. I don't think Russell is S tier, but last season I thought he was probably best of the rest. I thought after Max, he was probably the best driver on the grid. Made less mistakes than Leclerc, overperformed the car more times than not. So, and he actually transitioned into the leadership role from Lewis Hamilton, succeeded him very well, very maturely. So, is he the fastest driver? Is he the most naturally talented driver? No. I would say Leclerc is more talented than him. I would say Lando is more talented than him. I would say Max and Lewis and Alonso, of course, are better than him. But at the same time, I think the growth of George Russell definitely deserves a shout out. And I think that he absolutely, if he has a car that is the best car, he is the heavy favorite to win this championship because he has that mental strength. At least so far, what we've seen and what he can show, that can win championships for sure.
It's because Lance Stroll Senior is in charge, bro. You know what I mean? Lance Stroll Senior is in charge. So once and as long as he's in charge, Lance Stroll Junior is going to be driving. So expect that for the time being. But yeah, I think we've covered a lot. Unless you want to cover anything more, we haven't done so already. I mean, there's a few things we can talk about, but I mean, we might as well, get into that now.
I think we're good. I think we just talk about. I don't know what did Tifosi, what did Bossa Blue, what did you guys make of Paul and Kyle? What do you make of the race tomorrow? Mercedes 1-2 front row lockout, or Kimi Antonelli to fall behind, have some battery problems, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton to charge up the pack, and we didn't even mention it. We're around 53 minutes into the show. We didn't discuss the reigning champs, back-to-back champs, McLaren. Completely gone back to where they have been for the last decade, which is irrelevant in the context of the title picture, to put it bluntly. So McLaren as well, I don't think we will see them in a contending form, at least till the summer break, which I think most people, and look, I respect Oscar Piastri, I respect Lando Norris, what McLaren did, very impressive, but I think good for the freshness of the sport that we have 3 teams that are better than them.
For me, it's like, when you think about it, you mentioned McLaren. I just think the whole mood of the drivers is the morale is not there. I don't know if it's just like the first day back at school thing. I don't know if it's the first day. I don't know. I don't know if it's the regulations. I don't know what it is. But it seems like everyone's mood is just not there. They're not willing to race. Obviously Mercedes, they've got their package, so they're vibing. You got the two drivers happy with where they are, but the rest of the grid is like they're talking about Mercedes. They're talking about the compression stuff. They're talking about what's going on. They're kind of worried about what's gonna happen to them this year, especially with the new Mercedes package, right? They're talking about being checked out. They sound like they're checked out. They don't want to race because of the regulations, because of the new engines and the new systems being in place, especially the MOM instead of the DRS, DRS. So yeah, I mean a lot's changed in Formula One over the last 2 years. A lot has changed, the engines, the systems, rules. But I think it might just be the first day back at school thing. Next week, if Max Verstappen improves his results, I think it'll be a morale boost. I think, like I say, it's the first day back at school thing. First week back at school. That's how I look at it.
That's a great analogy.
Nah, it's always first day back at school after summer. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think it is first day back at school, except if the school system was determined by the best student gets the best numbers, which is generally how it's done, and you're competing next to Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla. Like you're a 17, 18-year-old kid competing next to Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla. I think that's what it's like at the moment. And it's going to be a bit difficult for the rest of the paddock for the next few weeks, even if they play well, even if they produce some results, even if they perform to the standards and above that they desire. That gap to the Mercedes, and also not even that. Maybe you're right about Max Verstappen. And I hope you're right. I hope Max starts winning races and is like, I love this again. But knowing how Max Verstappen is, he's a racer. He is a born racer. Racing is in his blood. It is in his DNA. It is his identity. It is his instinct. Even if he wins races, and he said it when he's won races as well, these cars are not the desirable cars for him. They're not authentic. They're not actual to racing capability. They're more about battery. They're more about Formula E than about Formula 1 and Formula A. I think that's the problem. So Max Verstappen, but I agree with you, Tifosi. I expect Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen to both catch up.
Yeah.
Why not?
He's wasting space in his ass. Man's talking about Lance Stroll. People didn't like the Halo when it got introduced. Sorry. You were saying something?
Sorry, should I go on?
No.
No, I was just I agree with you. Possibly I agree with you, but I think the difference is Halo, like with the DAS system, accessory, obviously two completely different things. One was ruled illegal. Halo was for safety and protection. But the Beyonce song that they added onto the F1 cars, I think that isn't going to have as much of an impact as engine compression, because that is like a completely game-changing, game-winning pull. Yeah,
bro, I can't lie to you, and I hate to really bring up something. I don't want to bring the whole mood of this stream down. Without the Halo, we wouldn't be seeing Lewis Hamilton drive anymore today.
Yes.
People are forgetting the Halo when Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton had that incident back in 2021. Yeah, man, that Monza, bro, that was one of the craziest, most dangerous incidents I think you'll ever see in Formula One history. How lucky Lewis Hamilton was to make it out of that, man. Honestly, without the Halo, sorry, I don't think I'd be seeing Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari in Tifosi today. I really wouldn't be. So lucky for the Halo, and I'm glad it's been introduced. I'm glad the Halo's been introduced, man. I really am. People can't live without it now. Yeah, man. They can't. You never know. Could be some great changes. Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, it could just be the whole mood swing of it might just be the first day back at school thing. So I don't think it's the regulations that might matter. It could be the regulations, because Mercedes is doing very, very well. However, it could just be that maybe they're just like, it's first day back at school. We don't want to go back to racing. We enjoyed our summer holidays. We want to go back. If you think about it, Formula One has more breaks than anything. The next race is in 2 weeks?
No, next race is next week. Then we have a couple-week break. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but exactly. That's what I mean. They have more holidays than they do actual racing. You know what I mean? So, now look, we'll see. But I mean, first day back at school analogy is where I stand with it. Regulations could just be later down the line. Whereas it might just be the first race. Later down the line, they'll start complaining about it. You know what I mean? It's like students not being happy with the rule that the school made, a new rule the school made, but the school changes it later down the line because students are not happy with it. I'm more interested in the straight line speed stuff. The technology means corners will be more interesting. That's where Ferrari are really fast.
Yeah.
That's where Ferrari really exploited their pace down the straight, and also in the corners, because like I said, like Augustin mentioned earlier in the stream, Mercedes had the faster engine, that had the better engine, but Ferrari had a better pace.
Well, I mean, Leclerc
engine endurance in the race. You know what I mean? But sorry, go on.
No, I didn't interrupt. I was just going to say, to clarify on that comment, of course, Mercedes are the fastest car at the moment, but on the corners, I think Leclerc beat Russell almost every single corner. Whereas George Russell beat him on the straights. So I think it's quite evident. And yeah, you're right. F1 is tuning to the next generation, tuning to a more sustainable, a more arcade style of competition. But for many drivers, for many go-karters, that is erasing their identity. That is erasing the fun, right? Being able to do it yourself, having the autonomy over these cars rather than going to the arcade. But I agree with you guys. I think first day at school, Ekvin, I love that analogy. You should mention that more often here, because I think eventually when teams start to win, you will get more positive sentiments. But I think it is a bit disappointing that, unlike last regulations, the winners and losers weren't even talking about these regulations. This time, the team that doesn't win, they will invoke the regulation card. The team that does win will just do it on merit and enjoy it more. So just be careful for that one here.
This is what I mean. Like, if you start to ace more exams, the mood swings will just go from where you were first day back at school to like, oh wow, I'm enjoying school again. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what happens later down the line. It depends with like the drivers and whatnot, like how the engines will be used later down the line. Also, it depends on where the FIA stands with all this, because we can complain about the engines now and the regulations and everything now, but once it gets to the later stages in the season, and the issues are still there, then I understand the complaints. But first day back is just the first day back. I don't see why the complaints are valid at the moment. I get it, like maybe they might have been favored. There's favoritism in that, but then shit could be changed later down the line. There's still like a whole 24 races to go, I think. So, you know what I mean? And we haven't even started the first race yet, and a lot's already been said. So we can jump to conclusions now, but conclusions will be made during the summer, during that summer break in between July and August, September, excuse me. So yeah, no, we'll see. I think F1 is shooting its market towards the next generation simply because all the screen technology is no longer V12. It is V6 now, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's V6 now, so.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Yes, you're correct, and I agree with everything you guys are talking about with this here. But I saw a quote from George Russell, by the way. It's basically he was asked about the competition, and he said, "We didn't get to see Max. Looking where Isaac Hadjar finished, you can be confident that Max would maybe be in the mix with us." I think the problem I have with this, the problem that people aren't taking is usually, a competitor, they're trying to explain why, hey, they're second best or they are the best. This one with Mercedes, it's a whole unprecedented time because Mercedes are trying to prove that they have competitors. Think about that, Ekvin. Mercedes are trying to prove not that they're the best or not that they're second best. We know they're the best. They've all established that. They're trying to prove that, hey, they're actually teams that can compete with them. They're like wanting teams to compete with them to make it more legitimate, their dominance. That is just a really crazy place to be. It's like me in NBA fantasy, where I'm putting the analogy for those who know, for those who've been on those streams. Obviously, we've done our NBA fantasy league over 100 different teams and people over the last few years. I've won every single year, but every single time that someone gets close to me, I like it because I want myself to be pushed. But that's what but that's what it feels like. It feels like, before you'd want your rivals to lose. In this instance, I'm like, yeah, let me have a good match. Let me have some competition. But that's what it feels like with Mercedes. It just feels like with them, they're too good at the moment. They'll need some competition to make it more legitimate. What do we make of Williams and Haas? Williams, obviously, they had a lot of problems in preseason. So they're going to be some slow burners. I think eventually mid-season, end of season, they'll get more back into rhythm. They have the team. James Vowles is a very good leader. Also Sainz and Albon. You trust them more than most driver pairings on this grid. In terms of Haas as well, I think they have among the least problems compared to every other midfield team. So expect them to be thrusted into the mix. Ocon and Behrman, especially Behrman, is growing at a great rate. He will be in contention for points. He might even sneak into the top 10 at the end of the season. So at the moment, Williams, expect them to progressively get into the season. And with Haas, expect them to also be a reliable midfield team. I don't necessarily see them producing masterstrokes, but I expect them to be in the midfield. In terms of the other teams, Audi, Ekevin mentioned it. I agree with it. Audi are at the moment, their driver pairing is probably the strongest midfield team alongside the Williams. And at the same time, they also look fast. They have a nice engine. They have a nice package. And then Aston Martin and Cadillac. Good luck. Goodbye. Have fun. It'll take.
Williams. I think they didn't have a good qualifiers. I think they just decided to sit out their drivers for the rest of the Q1, if I'm not mistaken, right? They sat out their drivers for the rest of Q1. I remember Carlos Sainz sat out. I remember who else sat out? Which of the drivers sat out? I think.
It was Lance Stroll sat out. Carlos Sainz sat out. And somebody else sat out. You're right. Max Verstappen can complete a time.
Max Verstappen didn't complete the qualifying session. You got.
By the way, I know this is a sidetrack. I saw this graphic. F1 has done this for many years. Really, really cool. Take a look at the gap in qualifying. Look at this. Is this not crazy?
That's actually a really good graphic, you know.
Yeah.
That's a really good graphic that they've used. It just tells you how far. I mean, sorry, can you bring that back up again? Of
course.
If you look at Antonelli and Russell, it was 0.2 seconds. Hadjar was 0.7 seconds behind Antonelli. Leclerc was right behind Hadjar. Just right behind Hadjar. Norris, Piastri, and Hamilton were just about level with each other. It just tells you how much of a difference, how much of a gap Mercedes have built in this season so far. Except we haven't started the season yet. It's only been qualifying sessions. So, like I said, we'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow if the endurance of the engines can carry other cars to catch Mercedes. Otherwise, GG's. Simple as. Williams' trajectory is better than any other midfielder, and Haas would be where they are. It's good. Yeah. I mean, Williams have the potential. It's just whether they're ready. They had the potential last year. They've shown a bit of like quality last year, with obviously Carlos Sainz joining them. They have Alex Albon. It's a good partnership to have, good driver partnership to have. Whether it's championship worthy, it's obviously not. But because they're waiting for Williams.
I do think if they had, sorry.
No. Go on.
I do think if they had a Mercedes car, they could compete for the championship. Both of them obviously wouldn't be favorites, but Carlos Sainz is great under pressure. I think it's far better than Leclerc and Lando Norris under pressure. Especially, he can command a situation. But on real quick, sorry, I don't want, just before I forget this.
No.
It's better than every other team, but I think Williams will be disappointed. Because with the way they ended last year, how James Vowles talked about the last 3 years, throwing it away for experiments, being ready for this season, the fact that they'll need another season to be ready, I think it will be bittersweet. No doubt about them. Vote of confidence, completely there. But Ekevin, I think we have to be a little bit disappointed. Given the driver pairing, given the fact that they have a Mercedes engine as well, the fact that they aren't competing at the top of the midfield, the fact they aren't doing what Racing Bulls are doing in a Ford power unit, Ekevin, I think that's a little bit deflating and disappointing.
No, it definitely is deflating and disappointing because you want to see Carlos Sainz do well. He's like a fan favorite to everyone, isn't he? He's like a fan favorite. You want to see him do well in races. You want to see him finish. The last season, Williams got quite a lot of podiums last year, or quite a few podiums last year. If you deep it for their standards, that's a really good season. You know, especially like they're not even competing for a championship. They're like a midfield team. You know what I'm trying to say? And if you think about it, like finishing a few a few podium finishes, especially Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon. Good season, but will they be ready for the races to come? I don't think so. Don't think they're ready. And I did say Williams will be a team later down the line that could be a team that could cause like trouble later down the line. But that's only if they're ready. That's only if they've fully built their potential this season, which I don't see that I don't think they have. And you've seen it so far in qualifying. They're not been able to finish the qualifying session. So, like I said, this is for later down the line. We'll discuss later down the line. I won't want to go to Baku. Talk about Azerbaijan. Yeah, I hear you. As in like what?
Mercedes, how did they build a gap?
Is it check for F? I don't know.
That's a F1 reference. F1 reference from.
Oh.
It's like a Charles Leclerc moment when he said, "I think the car is wet because there's water in it." Like that, like
Yeah.
funny type of reference.
Yeah, it must be the water or something like that,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. It's that type of comment. W Boss of Blue.
Listen, if he's on track for his 9th, then we'll see. You mean his 8th? His 8th comes.
No. Oh no. He means 9th because 2021. Many people, even Lando Norris, counts it as a Lewis Hamilton. But I think the reason he's saying that is, do you get why he's saying this? Because he should, if he's in the Mercedes car here, Hamilton is like the heavy favorite to win the championship this year. If Lewis Hamilton didn't leave Mercedes, and they developed the way they did, right now we would all be saying Hamilton.
Favorite to win the championship for sure, 100%.
Yeah, he'd probably win it by some record margin as well. But I think it's not over yet.
No, it's not. I hope that Ferrari don't have up on strategies that potentially have a fast car.
Big if, man. Big if.
That's what I said earlier in the stream. I said if there's one team that have a fuck up on strategy, it's Ferrari. But I said on ability, Ferrari had the pace to catch up, not to catch up to Mercedes technically, but to compete. Like they'll be the fastest car behind Mercedes. They'll be the ones that will be possibly the next one in line. I said they'll be faster than Red Bull. But do I think that they'll catch up to Mercedes? Probably not. I think.
I don't.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, if there's one team to mess up with strategies, it's Ferrari. But I think on ability, they're definitely one of the fastest cars. Second fastest car behind Mercedes this weekend, potentially. But what were you going to say?
I don't know if they will big up Austin Blue. Exactly. The feeling is mutual. I will. Yes, I 100% will. I'll screenshot it and send it to you in a few minutes.
We'll do. I might create a Formula One group chat and I'll add you to it if you want to, possibly.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I like that. But I hope the Tomato Boys win. I agree with you, but I was going to say I don't think that Ferrari are 100% clear of Red Bull. I think the biggest revelation for me, and of course Hadjar did a tremendous job, and of course he seems to be dealing with pressure better than his predecessors did. At the same time, that Red Bull seems quick. And it has seemed quick for a while. They seem good. They seem competent with their long runs. They seem to have good qualifying pace. Their engine with Ford, managing the battery. They seem to have very few issues compared to teams like McLaren and even Mercedes doing that component. So do not discount Red Bull at all. Because I think at the moment, next week in China, you would expect a Mercedes-Red Bull showdown, maybe Ferrari to get in the mix as well. It's those three teams. I'm just happy that McLaren aren't in it. And I like McLaren. I have no problem with them. I just want some freshness. But I think, Ekvin, Max Verstappen would probably be the favorite over Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc at the moment if they're all out on track at the same time.
We'll see. But, I mean, I've covered it a lot. You want to cover anything more? I mean, we get to predictions now if you want to. We'll get to predictions now. So we'll do the exact same as last year, same system as last year. So top 3 in Dark Horse. I'm gonna go with George Russell to win the race. Kimi Antonelli to come second, and I'm gonna go with Charles Leclerc to come third. Outsider, Lewis Hamilton for me. Or I don't. Isaac Hadjar. But how could he be an outsider if he's already third? To be fair, that's based off my prediction, isn't it? That's based on my prediction, so I'm probably gonna go. No. I'll stick with the same. So I'll go with top two Mercedes, 1 and 2 drivers at the moment. Top two stays the same. I'll put Charles Leclerc in third, and outsider I'll have Lewis Hamilton. I can't have Isaac Hadjar as my dark horse if he's already third, unless. Yeah, I'm undecided between Lewis Hamilton and Isaac Hadjar. Lewis Hamilton, why not? It's my outsider. I don't want to underestimate Isaac Hadjar because he's a really good driver. He has a very good start to qualifying, but I just don't know if he has the pace to catch up with Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. I don't know. I think Ferrari in qualifying might not have done it, but in the race they have what it takes. That's what I'm leaning towards. But what's your prediction? And then we'll wrap up in a bit.
So I like that, Ekevin. Ekevin, you're going with a front row lockout, right?
Mercedes
front row lockout. I'll put this race into 3 different things. Heavy favorites, Mercedes, of course. Their engine compression, 3 to 5 tenths a lap, 15 to 20 horsepower per lap. They are in a league of their own. George Russell will win this race. But watch out for a couple things. Energy harvesting. Which teams have the least battery problems, energy problems? Ferrari. They have the least degradation issues. Red Bull, managing that far better than Mercedes. Watch out for the lift and coast on those final laps. All those teams, with this new heavy emphasis on electrical, with this new heavy emphasis on these battery deployment, basically these battery deployment issues, watch out for this in the final few laps of the race. Second, safety car. 4 of the last 5 races at Albert Park, Ekevin, have featured a safety car. So watch out for that. The Mercedes domination, they may run away with it. They may have a 20-second gap, but at a certain point, a safety car may kick in 25 seconds and 15 seconds gap, whatever it is. Nullify that deficit immediately. So coming back to all of this, Mercedes seem to be the quickest team, but Ferrari, degradation, nullified. Also, race starts, the most rapid. Max Verstappen coming from the back. I think if Max was starting up top, he could maybe even break the Mercedes front row lockout. I expect 3 different things. Winner of the race, podium. In third place, I am going to go with third place. It's tough. I'll go with Charles Leclerc. Just second place, I will go with. Actually, no. Third place, Kimi. I don't know. George Russell's going to win the race. Fuck it. If Hamilton was starting 5th, I would go with Lewis Hamilton to finish in 2nd, by the way. Guys, I don't know. I don't know. I have an inkling that Ferrari have the race pace. Fine, I'll go with. I don't want to be boring, but I think it will be Charles Leclerc. It will be George Russell 1, Kimi Antonelli 2, Lewis Hamilton 3rd. Let's do it. Let's do it for the sake of it. Surprise pick. Watch out for Max Verstappen. He may even enter the podium. Watch out for that.
That's it. I don't see it this week.
I
think top 10 is. I think top 10 in the points. I think he'll definitely get into the point. He's faster than all the cars above him in the bottom 10. In the bottom 12. Excuse me. That's not bottom 10 anymore. It's bottom 12. To get used to saying that because they're added. So it's still top 10, right? Top 10's points, right? Or is it 11 now? Is it 11 now, or is it top 10?
Still the top 10 get the points, but the bottom 12, you're right.
So top 10, yeah, I think he'll finish top 10 because he's faster than all of the cars above him in the bottom 12. However, don't see him getting to the podium because, like I said, it depends on the pit stops. It depends how his pit stop goes. Pending penalties, pending all what he can avoid in the first week. I'm saying this season most safety cars we've had in a long time, bro. Today, I was concerned with the amount of incidents we had. Yellow flags, the 2 red flags we had. I'm already concerned about tomorrow, man. I can't lie to you. I'm already concerned what's gonna happen. I'm already worried about what's gonna happen tomorrow. So I think it might be one of those where you might see a couple red flags, and I hate to say that because I don't like red flags. I don't like people crashing out. But for the drama, it might be. Hopefully, no serious accidents though. Hopefully, no serious accidents. That's all I say. New technology, tricky, especially in different temperatures and conditions. True. Tomorrow could be interesting to see where the temperatures and the conditions play a part. But I think it's a warm weather tomorrow, isn't it? So it's still summer in Australia, so it's gonna be warm weather tomorrow. Probably windy, but we'll see. Lewis, Russell, Lando. Ooh, that's fair.
You never know.
I would love a Lewis Hamilton top 3 finish after how he finishes the qualifying today. I would love a
I mean,
double Ferrari.
guys, Hamilton hasn't ever been on the podium for Ferrari. Sprint race is one thing, but he actually hasn't ever been on a podium during a race.
He could have in Silverstone, but he bottled it against Hulkenberg.
Yeah, conditions, but still, you're right.
Conditions. With the all British top 3. I heard pit stops got faster by, as in like what? Sorry, no. If I'm not mistaken, I saw something today. Correct me if I'm wrong. I saw another lane to the pit stop. I don't know if my eyes are deceiving me here, but I saw like another track leading to the pit stop. I don't know if it's the pit stop exit. I don't know if it's the pit stop entrance. But one of the pit stop entrances was around the turn for the what do you call it? To the checkered flag. But is it to make it emergency exits to the race? Because if you have a crash, right, isn't that lane for where the cars have to go into the pits to exit the race?
Look,
I don't know. People please correct me. I think my eyes are deceiving me, but I think I must have saw an extra track on the grid. Like, somebody correct me, please.
I believe it. I personally didn't see it, so one of the boys in the chat will have to correct you. I don't know. I don't know myself. I didn't see it. I just thought it was a normal pit lane. And to Tifosi's point, have the pit stops just gotten quicker? Because those seem to be getting quicker every year, or has the pit lane also shortened as well? But I don't know. Maybe Ekvin, you're onto something. I don't know. I can check and let you.
No, go ahead, man. But yeah,
I don't know.
Top three in Saturday predictions are done. But I guess that's it. Unless you have anything to say before we go. Unless you have any more.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So then I'll say Russell Antonelli, Hamilton, Verstappen outsider.
No Leclerc.
I do think it'll be Leclerc on the podium. I just want to be a bit different. I want to be a bit different.
The cars got thicker.
They got smaller. They got slimmer and thinner.
Yeah, 100%. Takes up more space in the pit lane. Less pit lane to do so. maybe, but yeah, man. But yeah, man, it's really been a good show, man. Sorry, what did you say again just now?
6D chess. I'm saying to Boston Blue.
Oh. But anyways, good show, man. We had lots to talk about. We talked about obviously the Formula One race weekend, the preview of the first race of the season. We talked about what could happen later down the line as well in 7 or 8 races to come from now. But Augusti, it's been a good show, man, and appreciate you being here. Guys, first and foremost, if you are new around here, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn your notification bell on so you don't miss a live video or a video if you upload. And make sure you guys, like I said, leave a like on the video. And we're 47 subscribers away from 600. 2 subscribers to 555 subscribers. If you guys could leave a like and subscribe, that'd be great. And we'll definitely see you back tomorrow for the exact same show. Not the exact same show, but the exact same time, exact same time or similar timings to tomorrow, because tomorrow is the race review show. So hopefully we do have an interesting race. Hopefully we have a result that go our way. If all things go to plan, why not? Big up to Fosi who's in the chat. Big up to you, bro. Hopefully you do join for more previews and reviews this season, man. I would love to see you on the panel. And Boss of Blue, you as well. Big up to you, bro. And Kyle from Football Overseas, who was here earlier. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Kyle at Football Overseas. He does Formula One shows as well. Formula One Talk. He's also a Man United fan. Big up to you, bro. And yeah, guys, say anything to add before we go?
Nope. I'm with you guys. Big up the chat. Big up the boys. Boss of Blue, Tifosi, legends as always. Kyle, Football Overseas. Great contributions. Brilliant. And W. That was very quick.
Good. Keep going, man.
Keep pushing, man. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing, bro, before the deadline to happen.
Plan A. No plan B, no plan C, no Ferrari nonsense. Just plan A, man.
Yeah, man. Stick me in the midfield for the Man United, I would do a better job.
Yeah, look, if you As long as you're not talking about replacing Bruno, then I agree with you.
Oh yeah, he's not replacing Bruno.
I know.
Bruno Fernandes is his guy, bro. He's his
Yeah,
guy.
Bruno's his man. I mean, of course, he has ball knowledge.
Oh, for sure. But yeah,
I mean, he's one of the best players in the world at the moment. So
I agree.
no doubt about it.
No doubt, 100%. But anyways, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and we shall see you guys very, very soon. Take care. Forza Ferrari. Hopefully the race goes to plan tomorrow. You never know what can happen, but the delusion lives in me. See yous. Take care.
Lives with me too. I hope so.